Welcome back. Hope you're all doing well. Hope your trucks are treating you good. I am going to attempt to show you how I do the power only and the mistakes to avoid. So right off the bat, I have to say a couple things because somebody might be watching my videos for the first time, and I always get these comments, well, you can't make money in power only, and you're not doing it right, and so that people will understand. I got into trucking so I could be my own boss. I got my own authority so I could basically have the freedom and do what I want to do. And so I do things a little bit differently than most. I don't run the normal lanes where you would get the most rate per mile. I go where I want, I go when I want, and I basically, I don't have a lot of overhead. So I'm pretty free in that. So over the past year, I've picked my own loads for years now, but over the past year, I've basically gone to just power only, and I'm going to show you the mistakes that I've avoided and ones that you should avoid. I think, and the ones that I see a lot of people making. So starting off. I see a lot of people going down the path of least resistance and falling into that confirmation bias. I've talked about this before. If you don't know what confirmation bias is, it's basically getting out there and studying and finding the information that you want to find. Not necessarily, you have your evidence and your facts over here, and you have your beliefs over here. And when you're out there searching, you usually end up right in the middle there somewhere, or probably more over into, your beliefs, what you want to find. And you ignore a lot of evidence and facts. On my channel, I give you the facts, and I not only show you what I've made just about every single week and every month, but I've shown you how I made it and how I have to be efficient because of the way I run. And so what I see, the biggest mistake, I think it's a mistake I see a lot of people make, is going down that path of least resistance. And there are a few companies that out there that a lot of people they jump into them and they stay, they toe that line and stay there. The biggest one I see is Amazon. So you have people with cars and trucks and vans and sprinter vans and cargo vans and box trucks and semis. And because there's a million videos on how to sign up with Amazon, they get whatever their vehicle they have, they get their authority, and Amazon doesn't require you to have any time on your authority. And you can sign up with Amazon and start hauling right away. And you see people saying, I made $7,000 a week with Amazon. They don't tell you how they made it. Or they say, I did 4 loads with Amazon in one day and made $900. Again, they don't tell you how they made it. They just, and when you see that, you think, oh, $7,000 a week, that's what I want to do. And it's so easy. But I'm telling you, don't fall for that. It's not efficient most cases. Most cases when you're running for Amazon, I signed up for Amazon when I first started, and I figured out real quick that I would have to run a lot of miles to make $7,000 a week, or just get very lucky and every once in a while find one of those loads, sit and wait and find one of those loads that was a hot load that needed to be moved right away. But for the most part, Amazon and JB Hunt, Schneider, they don't want to pay you very much. They want to keep rates at $2 a mile or lower when they're paying contractors. And I'll go into some other things here, but what I want to do real quick, and hopefully this works out. I'm on YouTube, and I typed in power only trucking. And so hopefully this works out. I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to bet that main things we're going to see is Amazon and JB Hunt. But let's see here. Let's go through here. Of course, and there's me from last week. Not going to see any. Okay, Amazon, JB Hunt, JB Hunt, JB Hunt. That was me back when I was at F2F. I had a lot of those $10,000 weeks. JB Hunt, Amazon. Okay, you get the picture. Schneider. That's a good looking guy right there. Uh, JB Hunt again. That guy usually doesn't do power only though. Okay, you get the picture. I'm here to tell you, when you sign up on Amazon, I did when I first started, most of their loads are $2 a mile or less. And it's very difficult to have an efficient week when you're making $1.75 a mile. And what they expect you to do is just run 3,500 to 4,000 miles a week. And yeah, then you'll make $8,000, $7,000, $8,000. But most people do it because it's the path of least resistance. You can get paid real quick from Amazon. They have plenty of loads going wherever you want to go. And, you know, your best friend's friend worked there and he had a car and then he had a box truck and worked his way up. And they make it easy for you. Path of least resistance. Don't fall for it. You know, when you're first starting out in those first 3 months, it's difficult to find those companies you can work with. And, you know, work with Amazon just to get you going, but don't just work with Amazon. Get the DAT board and get Truck Stop. Let's talk about JB Hunt for a minute, because a lot of people, I see a lot of people that work, you know, they start out, they work for JB Hunt, then they lease a truck with JB Hunt, and then they buy their own truck and they start running loads for JB Hunt because they know the system. And they're putting out videos telling everybody they're making lots of money. JB Hunt for power only sucks. It is terrible. It's inefficient. And you will go out of business if you try to run specifically power only for JB Hunt. Now, I do get emails from JB Hunt saying, hey, come over, just pick up an empty trailer, run our freight, and just do van loads, and you can keep that trailer. I looked at their van loads and thought about doing that. Their van loads don't pay enough to do that. But here's what happens with JB Hunt if you're trying to do power only. You find a load that's paying a decent amount. It's a short run. Let's say it's going 100 miles and it pays $5 a mile, $500. You book the load, but then you don't go just pick up a preloaded trailer. First, they want you to go, whatever it is, 75 miles over here to find an empty trailer. Then come back, do a live load. Hopefully you don't have an appointment. Let's say it takes you 2 hours to do a live load. You get on the road, takes you 2 hours to get to your destination. Then hopefully again, you don't have a delivery appointment. You unload however long that takes, but you're not done yet. You have to take that empty trailer and take it to a different location to backfill somewhere else. So you just wasted nearly a whole day making $500. A little bit more because they're going to pay you 75 cents a mile to deadhead to take that trailer back and forth, which is just absolute insanity. Don't do it. I see lots of guys on here who do it all the time. And yeah, every once in a while they're going to have a good load that's paying a real good amount. But after you add in all those deadhead miles and all your time to go get that empty trailer and then take that empty trailer somewhere, it's not worth it. What else do I avoid? Convoy, Uber, Coyote, and there might be a couple others. The problem with those, I booked a load with Convoy, a couple loads with Convoy, one with Coyote. The problem with all those is appointment times. Avoid appointment times like the plague. That's inefficiency right off the bat. And, you know, my time, you know, whether I'm sitting or driving should be worth the same amount. But if you're sitting, you're not making any money. So Coyote, Uber, and Convoy. Let's talk about Uber first, because I've heard people say, oh, I love Uber. They got good rates and this and that. I've seen these used car lots come out with these promotions. Oh, we put our non-haggle price right on the windshield so you don't have to negotiate. Just come right in. Of course they don't want you to haggle. They want to sell that car for what they want to sell it for. And that's the same thing that Uber does. They put that rate out there and you have to accept it or be on your way. And their rates aren't good to begin with. But what all three of them do is they have appointment times, and it makes things incredibly inefficient. And I've seen one guy try to run exclusively. I believe he was trying to get on Coyote and run exclusively for them, and he went out of business. But here's what the problem is. So you book a load with any of those three, and first off, you need to read the details, because this is what most of their loads entail. They want you to pick up at 8 o'clock at night. Well, usually between 10 o'clock at night and 1 o'clock in the morning, you go in and pick up that preloaded trailer. And you're only going 100 miles. Let's say it pays $10 a mile. That's what you see a lot. Oh, I made $10 a mile. So you go and pick up that thing in the middle of the night. You travel 100 miles. It takes you 2 hours, but then you can't unload until 8 o'clock the next night. So you go in to unload, and a lot of these places are delivering to retail stores, which are the worst as far as getting you unloaded quick. You unload at 10, you get unloaded, let's say at 10 o'clock at night. You drive somewhere to take your 10-hour break. You're not ready to go until 9 o'clock the next morning. Oh, but wait, you have to take that empty trailer back to point A. So sometimes you have a choice. You can either use that trailer as a loadout, which, if you start thinking about it, you have a limited window and a limited lane where you can pick up a load and get it back there in a limited amount of time. And that's going to be very, very difficult. Or you can just drive straight back. But when you do that, deadhead back, you cut that $1,000 in half, and you've worked 2 days for $1,000, $500 a day. You've wasted so much time. Appointment times are terrible. And Convoy, Coyote, Uber, they're ate up with appointment times. I booked one load with Coyote one time, and it paid a very, very good rate because somebody had backed out on the load, and it had 3 or 4 stops in it. I can't remember. And I got the thing for like $6 a mile. But as it turns out, what they didn't tell me to begin with was I had to help unload. And that was sort of a pain in the butt. But just read the details and avoid J.B. Hunt, Schneider, Amazon. I wouldn't say avoid Amazon. They've got so many loads. And if you're waiting around, just check that load board every so often. You can get a good rate from Amazon, but it's always a last minute type of thing. But, I'm not saying, don't use any of these companies. I'm just saying last resort. So if you're starting out, you have a new authority, just go get you a subscription to the DAT board and Truck Stop, because what you'll find is all those companies, JB, Schneider, Swift, all the mega carriers, Landstar, Coyote, Uber, Convoy, C.H. Robinson, they all put their loads on the DAT board or Truck Stop or both. They don't put 100% of their loads on there, but they also don't put 100% of their loads on their own load board. Sometimes you'll find a Swift load on the load board, and it's not on the Swift load board. You'll find it on DAT or Truck Stop. So, but your best chance at the best freight and the best rates are on Truck Stop and DAT board. Let's go into my strategy and how I try to be efficient, because I'm in Texas, and I'm out in the middle of nowhere, so I usually end up having to deadhead to Houston or Dallas, which is 2.5, 3 hours. And when I do my out and backs, I'll do a trip out, and I'll call it like my Colorado loop. I like to go out west, and of course, when you get out there, the rates are terrible coming back. So here's my strategy, and this is what makes me happy. It's not going to work for everybody, and it's not going to get you the best money, but it's what I like to do. So I'll run around the house. I stay within 200 or 300 miles of the house. I'm home a lot during the week when I'm doing my local stuff. And with power only, you can string these loads together. It is an extreme pain in the butt because you have to be on that load board all day, every day. When I'm at home, work's not over, because even when I'm enjoying a movie or what have you, every once in a while I'll pick up the phone, I'll refresh that load board, even on a Saturday or Sunday. When I go out to eat with the family, at least once during the meal, I'm picking up and looking at that load board. It never ends. You're always thinking about it, but you have to do that. You have to, because I've said this before, most people, when they look at that load board, when you look at it, most every load's paying $2 a mile or less. And that's because that's what's left. The good loads either don't stay on that load board that long, or they never, very rarely, or never hit the load boards. And I'll get into that in a minute. So I'm doing my local stuff. I'm refreshing that load board all the time, trying to find that next load. And with power only, you know it's going to take you usually 10, 15 minutes to pick something up. You're just doing a drop and hook. It's going to take you 10 or 15 minutes. So you don't have to worry about thinking, oh, well, is this going to take me 2 hours to get unloaded? Will I have enough time to pick up that next load? No, you can go ahead and book that next load, and you know that efficiency is there to get you over to it. So that means that you don't have to have those high rates like somebody with their own trailer, because you've got that efficiency there. You can book that $2.50 a mile, get the next one within 30 minutes, and you're heading back to the house. So while I'm doing that, I'm running around. That gets monotonous if you do that a week or two of just on that load board every second of the day. But while I'm doing that, I'm looking for that golden ticket. I'm looking for that out and back, my Colorado loop, that I'm looking for that load that's going to pay me a very, very good rate to get out to Salt Lake City or get out to Vegas. And they're not on there every day. But I'm always looking for that. When I'm scrolling through whatever I'm looking for, lots of times I'll see it. Boom, hey, there's a load coming out of Shreveport going to Salt Lake City. It's paying $5 a mile. I jump on it, and I'll make, $6,000 going out, and I'll make, not a very good rate coming back. I'll make $3,000 coming back, but I've had that $9,000 week, and that makes the next couple of weeks so much easier. I don't have to run as hard. I hope that makes sense. But back to the load boards and loads. The good loads, the best loads, very rarely get on the load board. And if they do, they don't stay there long. And here's why. Because I've done this, I do it all the time. If I see something really, really good hit that load board, I'm on there, I'm calling it. And if it's something that's in my groove, that's going back and forth through my house, I'm building a relationship with that agent right away. And I'm telling them, hey, this load is just right for me. I can do this all the time. And what happens more often than not is I'll run that load, and then if that load comes out again, I'll either get a call or an email saying, hey, I got this load again, do you want it? And if, I might take it. If I don't, then it hits the load board. So most of the very best loads hardly ever make it to the load board. But when they do, you have to snap them up. You have to be efficient. You have to build a relationship, be polite, so that that agent remembers you. And because it's so much easier for that agent to just give that one load to one person over and over. They don't have to list it. They don't have to think about it. They know that rate that person wants. Boom, you're set. That makes life easy. That is the key to all of this. When you're on those load boards, you're building that every single load, you're building that relationship. You're making a reference. And sooner or later, you'll come across that load. And I did it because I've had this sort of a dedicated route for the last year now, and which is kind of slowing down now, but it'll pick back up toward the holiday season. That's extremely efficient. It's not far from the house, and I love it because there's no traffic. It's all country driving. It's not the best rate in the world, but it's efficient, and it's my groove. So that's the key to all this. Avoid the mistakes, be efficient, and you will find your groove. When you're starting out, it's difficult to do. At that 3-month mark, there's going to be more of those companies that let you sign on with your authority. But just avoid those mistakes. And when you're booking those loads, avoid appointments if you can, and avoid booking every single load with the same company, because it's whatever that old saying is. What's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. If you're only running with Amazon, they're not going to give you a raise. You're not going to get any extra benefits. Yeah, you're going to know the facilities you're going to, and that's somewhat of a strain off of your brain. But you're going to be looking at those sub $2 a mile rate every single time, and every once in a while getting a good rate. But get on that load board, study it. Look at the loads that are going back and forth through your house. Click on those loads, even if they're only offering $2 a mile. Click on them, see what the details are, and call. If it's something you love, you think, oh man, this gets me from the house, point A to point B and back every single day, but it's not paying that great rate. Hey, click on there and talk to that agent. If they don't want to negotiate, maybe you go ahead and take that load a couple of times, and then the next time they're going to call you and say, hey, you want that load? And you say, hey, I can't do it for that much. But they already know they can trust you to do the load. They already know that you can do it. And that's when you can negotiate. That's when you call your shots. But that relationship, those relationships are so important. Avoid the mistakes, build the relationships, be efficient. Efficient. Click the like button. Kenny, click the like button.